2022 high school football season. High school football on a Thursday night to get us started here in Tennessee. Covington versus Munford on your home for Munford Cougar football. Ritter Communications and Tubetown. I am Chad Gatlin, joined as always by Jay Harder. Jay, we are getting ready to start yet another season, and we're starting it again with a crosstown rivalry, Munford and Covington.
It's a great team coming here to Covington. Beautiful field, by the way. It's a packed house tonight. I am so excited, not only for football season, but I tell everybody I come in contact with about this Munford team how exciting they were last year. I saw on the Daily Memphian earlier this week, they got a full article just devoted to their football team and Coach Calhoun and Jordan Bell and everything. I mean, there's a lot of excitement around this program, and this is a big measuring stick game against Covington, a game that they kind of got beat up a little bit last year, but improved so much over the course of the year. All their starters are a year older now, including Jordan Bell. This is a big measuring stick game to see how you stack up if you want to compete for a state championship.
Absolutely. Covington not quite as far into the state tournament last year as in previous years. Kind of took a little bit of a step back, but they did handle business against Munford in the opener last year, and they have for the last 4 years against this Munford team, and they've outscored them 172-28 in those combined games. So Munford looking to get on the right side of that equation for the first time since 2017. You brought up the field, Jay. That's one of the things here. All the schools in Tipton County, including here in Covington, brand new artificial turf fields. And they are getting ready to break it in for the first time. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how the players adapt to this new surface.
No doubt. Certainly the first portion of the season, it's going to be hot. You know, this soaks up so much more heat. You can feel the temperature when you're standing on the field. You maybe can even feel it if you're sitting in the stands. But tonight, luckily, it's a nice cooler night. It's been cooler this week, but no doubt it's going to be a whole different texture to play football on.
Another thing we'll see here in an hour and a half are the new LED lights here at Covington Stadium. They've got all new LED lighting. We'll see how that looks and plays. I'm sure it's going to look fantastic, but I am most interested to see these running backs on this artificial surface and see how it changes the dynamic of the game.
No doubt about it. I mean, I'm looking at the LED lights now. They got them flashing now. It's too early in the fall, or not even fall. It's too late in the summer, early in the fall to really see the effects of the lights right now. But I'll tell you what, when it gets dark tonight, those LED lights are going to make a big difference.
You were talking about the heat, but these teams have had to practice in a heat wave that has been incredible all the way leading up to the season. And then we finally got a break in the weather yesterday, and so the temperatures are a little bit cooler than they have been, so hopefully we won't deal with as many cramps and issues like that.
Can you imagine practicing in this heat, this fast heat wave? I mean, I think about that all the time, seeing all the videos of high school football and even college football practicing in this heat. So these guys, like you said, well-equipped to deal with the weather, the training staff is well-equipped to deal with cramps. I'm sure they got tons of hydration, Gatorade, all the advanced stuff they got nowadays to deal with those cramps and things like that. But like you said, it's a nice, cool night. The players are running out right now, and we're gearing up ready for football. I'm excited. As excited as I've ever been.
Looking at those awesome shots from down on the field we're getting from Richard Bressler there to see that new service and to see the new helmets on the Covington football team for decades, Jay. They've worn gold helmets, a little bit controversial when the coach decided to switch to white helmets for this year. Some people loved it, some people didn't, but they've decided to go with it, and I think they look good.
It's almost a full homage to LSU, is it not? I mean, with the purple and gold pants and the white helmets, it looks like a true LSU football team down there.
We just need the 5-yard line marker.
That's right. That's all we're waiting for.
You saw both teams run out, and we are getting ready to kick this thing off. Braxton Brown, the prolific kicker for Munford, going to kick this thing off and get it started. Covington will have the ball first.
The all-whites for Munford. Obviously, same uniforms last year, but, man, those are clean. This first day, it's football time. Football time in Tennessee, I think we can say, right?
That's right. Some of the key players that were lost and some of the key players to watch we'll go over as we get the game started. But right now, it's just time to get into it and watch. Or it's not because the referee is stopping the game.
Oh, we got to wait a second. So much anticipation, you might as well wait a few more minutes.
They're waiting on the clock to reset.
I see. It's a weird angle we have here to see the scoreboard, see the clock, how much time is left on the clock. It's going to be an interesting dynamic here today, just calling the game.
Packed house. You saw in the open the street out here. There are vendors on the street. It's a full-on party here to start the high school football season, and the stadium is absolutely full.
As it should be, though, right? As football time, man. Before college, before NFL, we get high school football in Tennessee.
And now we get a kickoff. It's going to go deep, going to be fielded by Rodney T. Good. He's going to find a hole in the middle, break up all the way down to the 37-yard line. Great return for Covington to start the game.
I'm excited to see this Covington football team. Here in the game notes, you talk about how good a rushing team they are. They're going to put the ball on the ground today. And if you remember last year, that front four, front seven for Munford, that was one of the big question marks we had was, can they stop the run? Can they get a push on the defensive line? So a big test here, first drive of the game.
First-year starter, although he is a junior, he did not see time. The other two quarterbacks split time last year. He'll go with a handoff to start off straight up the middle, get about 2, maybe 3 yards there as he gets to the 40-yard line.
Wing T formation, so obviously this is a team that puts the ball on the ground.
They're going to give him to the 41 there, so it'll be a gain of 4 on the books.
Seems like there's a lot of teams, maybe in this division, in this division in high school football. Certainly the teams Munford play against that go to this formation and run the football like they do. Only one receiver out wide there.
Brandon Gover, the first-year starting quarterback in the backfield. Skyland Smith. This handoff goes to Jamarian Dowell, who we saw a good bit of last year, had a great season. He gets it out to the 45-yard line for a gain of 4. And it'll be third down now, 3rd and 2 for the Covington Chargers.
3 yards in a cloud of dust football, and that's what they say, and that's exactly what Covington's going to early in this game.
Absolutely. 236 yards of passing for the entire season for Covington last year.
That's like one game for Munford.
They like to do it on the ground, but they take control early, and if you've got a huge lead, there's no reason to put the ball in the air.
No doubt. Oh, a fumbled snap almost.
Handoff, and it is stopped at the line. Third down stand led by Mason Medill.
Great push there on the defensive front. Like I said, it was almost a jostled snap there and kind of a late handoff, and that push allowed Munford to get in the backfield and make a big tackle, but it looks like we're going for it here.
The senior defensive back, Mason Medill there. Looks like he's been switched to end.
I wonder at some point in the game if Covington's going to make – I mean, look at how Munford's stacking the box there.
Going for it on 4th down. He's caught in the backfield, and it's going to be close. It is going to be close. Dowell got right to and not quite the line to gain, so it will go over on downs. Great start for Munford's defense, causing a 4 and out.
No doubt about it there. Big stop right there. Really the only 2 pushes they had on that defensive front were on 3rd and 4th down, and those are the money downs for a reason, which now we get to see the exciting Munford offense for the first time. Like I said, I tell everybody I come across about this Munford team, and specifically about Coach Calhoun and Jordan Bell, who matured so much over the course of the year. We saw him a little sloppy earlier in the year as the season went on, setting his feet so much better, scrambling on the run. He's a dual threat quarterback in every sense of the word.
Picked up another college offer over the offseason. This one from UT Martin, already has an offer on the table from Eastern Kentucky. In the shotgun, running back to his right side. They'll have 2 men out to the right, looking for the audible from the sideline, and now
timeout.
Munford will call a timeout. And that's not what you want to see at the beginning of the season. Jay is on the first play from scrimmage on offense to have to call a timeout before you snap the ball.
Not at all. But it gives us an opportunity to talk about all these players and returners, especially here for Munford. And we talked about Jordan Bell already. I saw Jace Hodgen sitting out there kind of in the tight end spot, split end spot over there. And you were talking to me before the game about a big new running back they got, a transfer from Brighton that had over 2,000 yards on the ground last year. A huge addition to this Munford offense.
Braxton Sharp, he was an all-star. No doubt about it. For Brighton last year, he moves over to Munford this year. He's the man in the backfield beside Jordan Bell. I'd look for him to carry on this first down. And he will. He'll go up the middle, a little bit of a draw play, and he'll get about 5 yards out of that, up to the 41. It's a good run to start for Munford.
No doubt about it. Putting the ball on the ground early, that's what you like to see right there, especially when you're going out of the shotgun. You know the defense is going to be spread out a little bit, looking for you to pass, getting the ball on the ground early, getting some yards.
23 scores on the year at Brighton for Braxton Sharp last year. Bell in the gun. That's where he'll be most of the night, if not all of it. Fakes the handoff, looking for the pass. He finds a man, but he's double covered. Throws into double coverage. It is almost picked off, falls to the ground. Great coverage. Maybe not a great decision there from Bell, but good coverage by Covington and Josh McDaniel on the pass breakup.
First throw of the year, kind of taking a shot there. You're right. Double coverage, maybe waited a little too long to throw it. It's a tough angle to throw that football there. Nonetheless, no harm, no foul, incomplete.
I think he may have wanted to look to the outside shoulder. The receiver cut in, and that's where they found the free safety.
So third and longer than you'd like here, you'd have to imagine, for Munford.
Bell in the gun, Sharp's on the other side. He'll take the handoff, go off the right side. He'll juke one man and get all the way down to the first down, but there is a flag that looks in the area of holding, so we'll have to see how this one ends up.
What a great – I know it's going to be coming back and it's a hold, but what a great cut there by Braxton Sharp. I mean, you saw him fake going inside and bounce. He just drew the linebackers in and bounced outside. Tons of space to work. Unfortunate holding is going to pull it back.
Will be a holding, and the 10-yard penalty will make it a 3rd and 16.
Well, I just said the last play was third and longer than you'd like. I don't know what – this is certainly third and very long here.
Absolutely. And it's got to be a throwing down when you got Jordan Bell. One thing you got to look out for in the Covington backfield, they have an all-star free safety out there, and he has gotten some looks from the University of Tennessee and actually got an offer on the table from the University of Tennessee, and that's A.C. Mason Young, the senior free safety.
It looks like that's who they threw in the direction of that first pass, too, of the game, so probably the guy you want to avoid.
Bell's got 2 men with him in the backfield now. Handoff is going to go to Jace Hodgen. We'll see what Hodgen can do. He fumbles the ball, and Covington recovers.
Big hit there, 3rd and long. You have great field position to punt there and pin them deep in their own territory. That is not a play, especially when you're running the ball there on 3rd and long. You got to know what the job is there. It's just to gain a couple yards, make it easier on your special teams and punt team. Tough turnover there, and now working with about half the field now for Covington's offense.
So we can see already the difference in not having Avik White. Avik White pretty sure-handed with the ball all year last year. He graduated. Jace Hodgen got a lot of touches last year, but just still got a little maturing to do.
Pitch.
Going out to the right, he'll get brought down by a couple of Cougars. Starting on it was Tristan Bohannon.
Gang tackling is a huge part of the game today, especially with a run team like this swarming the football. It's always nice to see, even though it did come after a gain of 4 yards there.
2nd and 6 now for the Chargers.
One out left. They don't always line up a wide receiver out there.
Go with the snap. He'll hand it off. He'll find a huge hole on the left side and get the first down for Covington. Skyland Smith on the carry.
Yeah, Skyland Smith on that one. Listed as a sophomore here, so a younger guy getting some carries there for Covington, but he found a lot of space there as he's lined up. He's the one guy that's been lined up behind the quarterback here tonight. He gets a little bit of head of steam to work with instead of line up wide.
So the first down of the game goes to the Chargers as they get on the Cougar side of the field. They put one man out wide. Go over under center.
Another one. That's space.
Oh, that was an option, and there he goes all the way. Touchdown, Covington, Skyland Smith. That hole opened up big time by that offensive line of Covington.
That's what we're seeing right now, gang tackling right now, but maybe a little bit of over-committing to the guys outside in the motion that's taking place. That motion just got cleared up a big hole there up the middle from the linebackers. Once it got past the line of scrimmage, it was off to the races for Skyland Smith. Two runs in a row there.
On to kick the extra point is Wellington. And the extra point is up and good. And Covington jumps out to a 7-0 lead here at home over the Munford Cougars. Munford will get the ball back and another shot at it when we come back on Ritter Communications. Back here in Covington, Covington leads early 7-0 after the spectacular running of Skyland Smith and the great blocking of the Covington O-line. Nothing's changed there from year to year. And the kick is bobbled and now fielded, and he will cut all the way over to the opposite side of the field. He's got a hole, he's got blocking. He's going to find his way. He's going. He will make it all the way. Touchdown, Cougars, the equalizer.
What an answer there from Isaiah Cobbs after a muffed return. Picks it up, finds some space, and takes it to the house. Flag down, though, looks like at the opponent's side of the 50, about the 44-yard line. We'll see what this is. Hopefully it's not. It looks like they're pointing towards Munford.
Oh, and it will be a block in the back.
Can't get a penalty on the other side of the 50 on a return.
We'll wait on the official call here. It is a hold against Munford. And so after that amazing run by Cobb, after bobbling the kickoff, then cutting to the complete other side of the field, running maybe 50 yards before he cut it upfield.
Telling you.
Then all the way to the house. It's all for naught, though.
That's right. It's good to see, though. That's explosive running, and we're looking at a big there's a lot of not holes, I should say, but there was a spot to be filled in the special teams in the return game, so it's really good to see Isaiah Cobbs with that run back, even though it did get called back.
Jordan Bell in the gun. Braxton Sharp in the backfield. Hand off to Sharp. Sharp bounce off one man, get all the way to the marker. Not sure if he stepped out before he crossed.
It's going to be close there. It looks like maybe a yard short.
It will indeed be a yard short. 9-yard run off the right side there by Braxton Sharp.
Well, again, even though that got called back there, number 11, Isaiah Cobbs, a transfer from White Station, has offers from Eastern Kentucky, Alabama State, University of Memphis. He and Braxton Sharp have really, the two transfers have really impressed me thus far.
Hand off to Sharp again. Sharp around the right side. Makes one man miss, then gets it out for a gain of 3. And it's first down Cougars. So now the Cougars have their first down of the night. You know, Cobb bobbled that, but then made so much out of it. It reminded me, and this was a long time ago, but there was a kick returner at Brighton that bobbled the ball a few times, but each time he did, he returned it for a touchdown in one season.
So it's a good omen if you muff the kick there. So the run game obviously working for Munford thus far, even though the first drive was a 3-and-out, well, I guess a 3 and a fumble. But the run game is working thus far for him. I'd love to see more out of the pass game here. Absolutely. Oh, it looks like a penalty against Covington after the play, dead ball foul.
A little jawing there. It's going to be a personal foul, which will move the ball 15 yards and put the Cougars in great position now at the 26-yard line, 1st and 10. Hand off again. And no, it's a keeper for Bell this time. And he is hit in the backfield twice, able to get out of it, and now he's able to make something out of it. Gets about 5 yards and then taken out by the legs. Jordan Bell there.
Dangerous play there. I'm glad he made something out of nothing, but that could go a lot of different ways when you start playing like that.
They ran the same play twice to Sharp and then wanted to fool Covington, and Covington's line was not fooled at all.
Looks about a 5-yard gain there. So, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. So it's a lot worse things that happen on that play than 5-yard gain. 2 receivers out left here. You see the split end over there. They keep lining up. I believe that's Jace Hodgen.
This is a handoff to Sharp up the middle, and he'll get it for about 3 yards. It'll be about a yard short of the first down.
If I'm remembering correctly, too, there was a lot of 3-receiver formations last year for Munford. I don't think we've seen that unless you count the split end there, but a lot of new formation, new looks for Munford offense this year. Maybe a few new formations and just a whole new offense entirely. Still the spread, though, still playing the shotgun.
4:31 to go in the first quarter. 3rd and 1 for Munford. Hodgen goes in motion.
Oh, he's under center.
Now he's under center, it sure is. A little bit of a different look here. He'll go back out to end. And now it's going to be a timeout again for Munford. 2 timeouts spent here in the first 2 drives for the Cougars. And, Jay, they look like they had a good formation going there, but apparently the coach didn't like it.
Yeah, on 3rd down here, you want to make sure you got everything set. And it looks like I just said, new formations. That was a wild formation there with that motion, and then they look to the sideline to get a play signaled in. So just first game jitters. You know, you're putting in a bunch of new things. You got a bunch of new signal callers, maybe some new signals coming in. So it's understandable in the first game, but it's tough to use 2 timeouts there in the first 2 drives of the game.
And I would think if that was planned for maybe Hodgen to look at a keeper up the middle,
maybe so.
It would be better to put Bell under center, would it not? He's got the length.
You got to think so, short yardage there. But we knew Jace Hodgen has the ability to run there and maybe a little more comfortable with Jace Hodgen under center. And it's just a different look. You don't have to move the quarterback. Stacked box there, nobody deep.
Hodgen in motion, fakes the handoff, and Bell keeps it. He'll get to the line of scrimmage and across just enough. Fresh set of downs for the Cougars.
Got a little worried there. Jordan Bell dancing around a little bit, looking for space, trying to make something out of nothing. But in a short yardage situation like that, 3rd and 1, take the yards they give you. Let's get a new set of downs.
1st and 10 now from the 15-yard line for the Cougars.
Only 1 pass play on the docket so far. It was that deep pass thrown downfield to Isaiah Cobbs that fell incomplete. Oh, 2 running backs now. Jace Hodgen in the backfield.
Be a handoff to
Good
Sharp,
cut,
and Sharp gets over the guy that got in the backfield, able to get a positive gain out of it, about 4 yards on that one.
Still with 3 minutes left to go in this first quarter, but I'll tell you one thing I've noticed from Braxton Sharp running the football is he does not dance around. He does not waste time. This guy makes his cut and goes, and I am super impressed by the way he runs the football here early.
It was a great offseason pickup by the Cougars to improve this team and replace the hole left by Alvick White, who was a workhorse on this team.
No doubt. Could have played in college.
Hand off to Sharp, and he gets around the edge so fast it's going to be a touchdown, Cougars.
12-yard touchdown run there, gets to the outside. Same thing. He fakes like he's going inside. He makes those – they're playing so up in the box, Covington's defense is. He makes those linebackers and safety bite, and then he just makes one cut outside, boom, head of steam touchdown.
The speed is what's impressive to me.
No doubt.
He left the defensive end, just in the dirt. I mean, he just outran him to the edge.
Unbelievable. Oh, I love it. Oh, we're going for it here.
They are going for it. Big number 42 punches in, 2-point conversion, and it's now 8-7 Cougar lead.
Jeremiah Sullins with a big push into the end zone right there. 2-point conversion, first one of the year. You catch him sleeping, you have the numbers, let's push it into the end zone.
And now Munford takes a lead over Covington. We'll be right back with more Cougar football on Ritter Communications.
At Ritter Communications, we're dedicated to being a caring community partner. We invest in the communities we serve by supporting local nonprofits, academic programs, local athletics, and events that bring us together. we create the connections that strengthen our communities. Ritter Communications. Right by you.
Back here in Munford, we saw the great touchdown by Braxton Sharp, his first one in a Cougar uniform, and then a little trickery on the extra point try. 2-point conversion by tight end Jeremiah Sullins.
First of many, I would imagine. And the way he's running the football, Braxton Sharp, I don't think he could have done more to impress me in the first 7 minutes of this football game than what he's done thus far. It's patient running. It's mature running, no dancing around. I love seeing running backs like that, especially in high school football, where they have a tendency to try and do a little more.
Middle of the first quarter, 8-7 Munford lead. A little bit of deja vu. This is where we were last year. Munford's hoping not for the same result.
All set to kick here again. After the first return, got them outside the 30-yard line there, between like the 35, I believe, is where their first drive started. Hopefully they can pin them a little deeper here.
Brown will kick it off. Covington has 2 people back to receive.
Oh, way short kick. Ball!
Oh, it is. The ball is loose. And it is recovered by the Cougars. It is recovered by the Cougars, and it is
Tristan Bohannon.
Tristan Bohannon. We called his name a lot last year, and it looks like it won't change this year. We're going to call it a lot this year. He moved from defensive line to linebacker mainly because he runs a 4-4.
Really? Well, certainly good hands there too, but unbelievable. A good player to have at linebacker there as well. Like you said, runs a 4-4, can probably to be a little more versatile at linebacker. But right there, Coach Calhoun's trickery and just the plays he has up his sleeve are so valuable in a high school football game like this.
Cobb in single coverage out wide. Watch for the quick strike.
Yep.
That's who Bell was looking for, but he gets a little pressure in the backfield. Now he just has to tuck it and run, take what he can get, a couple of yards, and maybe a little extracurricular. The refs are going to let it go. A little bit late.
Sitting in the pocket. First game jitters here for sure on the pass plays. Obviously just 2 receivers out wide. They're playing man coverage. Is there a flag down?
Gain of 1, and 2nd and 9. The clock hasn't run since the kickoff, so I'm not sure what the time on the field is. The clock on the scoreboard says 2:42 remaining.
Interesting, that was only a 1-yard gain. That's why I thought there was a flag down. I thought he got a few more than 1, maybe 2 or 3 yards on that one, but nonetheless, still
hard to
positive
see
yardage.
where he goes out of bounds from here.
Oh,
and now it's a throw to Cobb, and Cobb has to come back and catch it. High points and gets it. Sure-handed, brought down by Kydrick Mason, but not before a good gain, and it's enough for the first down. Cougars in striking distance again.
About a 10-yard completion there, their first one of the game. A great play call by the coaching staff on a little curl route there. You see there's no safeties over the top. They're playing man coverage, and they have to play off to respect the deep ball. Now you see them getting a little closer to the line.
Hand off to Sharp. He loves that left side. He outruns the end, but he won't outrun the linebackers, and he'll get a gain of about 2 yards on that one.
Same thing. Taking the yards they give him, a smart play, getting out of bounds there, just running to the sideline, knows he can beat those ends to the sideline, and takes the yards they give him there. I can't speak highly enough of the first quarter for Braxton Sharp so far.
Munford doing a great job of pretty much staying on offense in this game. Coach Calhoun talked about the struggles they would have defending against Covington, and so keeping the ball as much as you can is a good way to defend.
No doubt.
Another handoff to Sharp.
Inside.
He'll try to the left again on the inside, and he will get brought down after another gain of 2.
Made a move on, I don't know if that was a defensive end or tackle. Nonetheless, he made a move, almost broke free, and still fighting for those yards. Could have been stopped at the line of scrimmage and gets 3 yards out of it. Man, I'm loving watching this kid run. We got a whole season of watching this guy, man alive.
3rd and 5 now for the Cougars.
3rd and a little longer than you'd like, I'd imagine.
2 receivers left, 1 man in the backfield. Bell almost gets him on a hard count.
Does. Signal
now he looks to
play.
the sideline. Hodgen
no safeties
split off
over
the
here.
end. He'll go left, and Sharp will take the handoff to the right.
Look at him fight. Look at him fight for those yards, and it looks like he has enough for the first down there based on where they're marking it. That's unbelievable. There was no space there, and he got 5 yards.
I'm ready to see where this spot is, and it looks like it is right on the line. What are they going to call it? They've got it spotted 4th and inches right now.
Oh, they're moving it up. No, moving it back. That's a shame.
So it'll be 4th and inches here for the Cougars. They'll stay in the gun. A little bit surprising here.
Maybe we'll see that play where they they move the split in. Nope.
No, it'll just be a keeper for Bell, and he'll try to find some room,
Close,
and
man.
it's going to be really close. We'll have to wait and see what the officials say on this one. And they're still sorting it out right now, trying to get the ball spotted, taking a look at it, and they will give Munford the first down. And so it'll be 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line for the Munford Cougars.
That's one thing I think in the maturity of the running that you see between Braxton Sharp and Jordan Bell there. You saw that one stutter step taken by Jordan Bell, and you don't see that from Braxton Sharp. Hopefully that's something he can learn from his senior running back.
Hand off to Sharp. Sharp around the right side. Hops over one man, can't get past the next. And he is brought down, gain of maybe a couple inches.
Just getting back to the line of scrimmage there, though, impresses me. I mean, he could have been brought down for 3 or 4 yards in the backfield there. That move he makes on the end is unbelievable. We might be taking a third timeout here in the into the first quarter. I'm sorry.
Into the first quarter here, it's 8-7 Munford. They're knocking on the door for another one. We'll be right back here in Covington on Ritter Communications.
Better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
Alvin White was good. This guy's something different.
Back here in Covington, as you see, the stands are full. Covington's band, Munford's band on the other side. We all know about the Munford band. Covington band showing up well here tonight too, though. Just saw a check for $1,000 presented by All Day Long to the Covington Chargers during the quarter break as we get ready to flip sides of the field.
18 plays for Munford versus 7 for Covington in that first quarter. Like you said, Munford's staying on offense right now, and that's apparent in the play discrepancy so far.
And keeping most of what they do tight. They've thrown the ball a couple of times. The thrown balls have not been great decisions. Cobb was able to make something out of it once. But Bell maybe we'll get more in the groove as the game goes on.
Reverse.
Oh, it's a reverse. And it's Chase Hodgson, and he is brought down hard.
The little double handoff. The rare handoff to a running back on the reverse from the split end. The little trickery there. First play of the second quarter gets some yardage.
Looked like Blake Travis on the hit there. Great tackle, but a great play and execution there by the Cougars.
Well, 9-yard gain. Can't complain about that on first down.
3rd and 1.
Oh, second down, excuse me.
3rd and 1. Direct snap to Hodgson. Hodgson will take it, and he's in the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars.
The second quarter, 2 plays, 2 runs by Jace Hodgson. 1 for 9 yards. The next one could have gone for more, but got to Pater before he could go for more yards.
And now what will they do on the extra point? They like these formations, but we've also seen they like to come out of them and then just kick sometimes.
You can't get fooled by it again if you're Covington. You got to just put enough guys over there. Yeah, there you go. It's just a numbers game in that formation, right? You just got to have more guys than the offense does to make sure they don't do something.
So now Braxton Brown will come over and line up for a proper PAT. And it is blocked! It is blocked! And Covington blocks the extra point, and that makes that 2-point conversion that much more important.
Certainly.
Looked like Jordan Haley got in on that block there for the Chargers.
Well, like you said, that two-point conversion becomes much more meaningful when a kick like that gets blocked. But I'm looking over the sideline right now, and there's a lot of unhappy coaches with that front line there. You got to do a better job of blocking in that situation just for an extra point. That's a free point. Could come in handy way later in this football game. Nonetheless, you got a two-point conversion on the last one. It's still a 14-7 game.
And we talked about this last year on some of the miscues on the PAT. Are those caused by trying to do those sort of cute formations and then trying to get into a regular formation and make the kick? Does that cause more miscues?
It could be, like you said. Maybe those formations, the personnel that you have on the field could be different, and you obviously can't run guys in from the sideline. So you might be onto something there as well. But if it results in a two-point conversion enough, though, you would think it evens out to where it doesn't hurt you. But you still never like to see extra points blocked. That's 3 points on the board.
Coach Calhoun will likely be upset that I said cute, so I'm going to apologize right now.
Oh, he was over there. He wanted that extra point. I mean, he was not happy as they ran over there to the sideline. I promise you that. Look at the confusion by Covington. Look at they're throwing their hands up. They don't know what to do.
Brown with the kickoff. It's going to be another short one.
Smart boy.
Call for the fair catch, but it went out of bounds, and so Covington will get the ball I believe it's 40-yard line in high school.
It's a smart. I believe you're right. That's a smart play. And Munford ran that little pooch kick a ton last year, and you never see the other team do what Covington just did right there. Just call for the fair catch. Just get it. Don't even go for the return. Don't try and be a hero. Call for the fair catch, and they can't hurt you with it.
Well, you've got to know that that's a result of film study.
That's right.
That Hudson would have that presence of mind.
And probably got chewed out the last time they came over there to the sideline, too. I think it's the first receiver we've seen out wide for Covington all day. Is that right?
It may be. That is Blake Travis out wide for Covington. They'll have two backs in the backfield. Go over under center. He'll hand it off and push forward.
Man,
that was just a power run there by Skyland Smith to get 5 yards out of what should have been nothing.
Skyland Smith, only a sophomore, runs with such a head of steam, and he's a big boy too, dragging, 4 defenders there on his back to get 5 yards. I'm as impressed as I've been by Braxton Sharp. I'm really impressed by this young man as well. Like I said, only a sophomore, running like a senior.
2nd and 5 now for the Chargers.
Another receiver wide.
They'll hand off again. This time it'll go the opposite side and get a couple of yards there. 1, maybe 2 yards. I think that was 8. Who was that? That was Jamarian Dow.
I believe that was Dow, yeah. First carry he's gotten since, the first play of the last drive as well. I tell you, one thing I noticed about Braden Glover at quarterback, he's a big boy to be running the ball that much. He looks the part, at least, of a quarterback that could sling the ball around a little bit.
Covington's MO has been run for many, many years, going back to Coach Marty Wheeler when he was here, and J.R. Kirby was an assistant and then the head coach at Munford. And the run goes up the middle, stopped by the Munford defense, and that'll bring up a 3rd down. 3rd down and 2 for Covington now. And the Munford defense doing pretty good, and Coach Calhoun was really worried about this run attack from Covington. He said he didn't want to spend a lot of time preparing for a team that has a niche offense like this because he has to prepare for the region schedule.
That's right.
The region schedule involves a lot more well-balanced teams and passing. And so he doesn't have a special defense in place for this run-heavy attack, and yet they seem to be doing pretty good so far.
Pitch.
Over to the left side, and out of nowhere, Tristan Bohannon takes what could have been a home run and stops it after 5 yards.
A great tackle there. That's what I was about to say before the last play is they had gone up the middle, and every time Munford kind of sniffs out, so now they're sniffing out the runs up the middle by Skyland Smith. They're going to pitch it outside. Last time they started pitching out, they started getting wise to the pitches to the outside, runs outside, and that's when we saw that big gap open up the middle. Munford needs to be a little more disciplined on defense, specifically in the linebacker spot, and just react to where the football goes.
This is going to be a handoff up the middle. It's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage by the Cougars. It's going to be finished off by number 73, Trey Scott, but give credit to the entire Cougar D-line there. Great pressure.
That being said, a huge difference what I've seen so far between my first game doing it last year and the first game this year is the defensive front four. Much bigger defensive line, it looks like, and just not getting pushed. And the offensive line for Covington is big as well. They're not getting pushed off that line, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen from them so far as well.
And Jay, remember, there's only 3 returning starters on this Cougar defense.
That's incredible.
7 returning starters for Covington on offense, but only 3 returning. And brought down again short, and that'll bring up a 4th down. That's a great tackle there by Hunter Perry.
They're playing like a veteran defensive front right now, especially how many runs and how many different directions, the motion. Now, you had that one play that was busted open for 45 yards there, but outside of that play, the most yards they've gotten on any one run is 7 yards. It's really been 1, 2, some 4, some 3, and you want to limit those, but pretty good defense by the front 7 thus far.
Hunter Perry, one of those 3 returning starters on defense and on our players to watch list for the year.
Timeout. They're going to punt it away. You got to think at least.
They're going to have to at least think about it after Munford has put them in this position on a 4th and 3, and it's just not one of those gimme things. So Coach J.R. Kirby wants to think about it, call a huddle, and I don't see a kicker leaving the sideline, so I do think they will still go for it.
Maybe so. It's a tough call, too. You only have 2 plays on this drive that would result in a first down with just the yardage they've gained. But, maybe you got a play or 2 up your sleeve for this specific situation, especially if you run the ball and are as one-dimensional as Covington is. You got to have some trickeration-type runs under your sleeve to get these 3-4 yard gains on 4th down. 50-yard line, though, if you don't get it, this is really good field position they can put Munford in.
Well, like you say, a trickeration run may be what's called for here because they haven't been able to muscle their way on this sequence. They'll put 1 man out wide, 2 men in the backfield.
Pitch.
Toss to Dowell. He'll go to the right side. He'll find the first down, and he'll get further than that. Saving the touchdown is Josh Griffin for the Cougars.
A sophomore Josh Griffin with a great tackle. That is not a tackle Munford makes last year in the secondary. As good as this defense was and as many seniors they had, a lot of those plays that get to the second level like that end up being broken out. A great touchdown-saving tackle right there. Even though it was a first down, got to be impressed by that moving forward.
You're right. Now, they had Akarius Hodgen in the defensive backfield last year. He's not here this year. He graduated, and that's a big loss for this Munford secondary.
No doubt. Good tackle, man.
Another great stop after a gain of only 2 by the Cougar defense.
Just swarming the football. And like one thing I saw early is like they were getting too overzealous in going for the pitch and predicting the pitch or predicting something over the middle. I'm not seeing that anymore, and they're still stuffing these runs after 1 and 2 yards. It's very impressive to see just maybe the jitters are gone after 1 quarter of football.
6.5 minutes left in the first half here. Munford leading this game 14-7. Now he drops back to pass, does Gover, and he is chased all the way and ends up throwing it short of the intended receiver, Cale Driscoll. No, I'm sorry, the intended receiver was Dorian Robinson.
Flag down on the 41-yard line, maybe roughing?
It'd be hard for me to say roughing, but maybe.
It's so far up there. It could be, I don't know what it would be. In the area of holding, maybe.
Did he get his face mask?
Perhaps.
We're about to get a call, so we will know. It is holding against Covington.
Take it. One thing I just learned about their quarterback is he's a southpaw. Those a lefty. I did not expect. I guess rolling out to the left you would expect it, but it kind of threw me off guard there. Caught me off guard. Braden Glover, the junior quarterback.
Chased down in the backfield, unable to make it. This Munford defense, impressive so far. Now, 2nd and 18. And for a team that runs primarily, it's a big hole to get out of.
No doubt.
Handoff, and no, it's a keeper, and now it's an option toss out to the left, and brought down by Mason Medill will be Jamarian Dowell.
Still really good recognition. I mean, it's just a lot. Like you said, they didn't specifically prepare too much for Covington because it is a one-game deal right here. The recognition on all the different moving parts happening there to limit it to, 6-7 yards there? Still excellent recognition on a 2nd and long to stop that. So much discipline on this defense that I just didn't see last year, especially early in the season.
And I'll tell you, I think one of the number one improvements you got to say is Mason Medill. He had some highlights last year. I'm not wanting to take anything away from him. We called his name, but he is much more on the ball and on the play each time this time.
I would agree. First carry there by Ryan Mize. It's the first player other than Jamarian Dowell and Skyland Smith that have even touched the football in the backfield so far.
And so now it'll be 4th and 11, and this is exactly what you want if you're the Munford Cougars.
Has to be.
And it looks as though Covington will try to pin them deep with a punt here. I would watch for the fake, however.
About to say, you got the same two guys that are always in the backfield back there with Jamarian Dowell and the quarterback, Braden Glover, punting it away, it looks like.
And you're in one of those areas of the field. It will be a pooch punt by Gover. It will, oh, wow. Great job by the coverage team down at the 2-yard line by Aaron Anglin for the Chargers. And that is not where you want to start the drive if you're Munford, but if you kept points off the board, I think you're okay.
Absolutely. It's a formation unique to high school, the old quarterback punt formation that keeps the defense honest. But I tell you what, I see a lot of high schools run it, and obviously it was very effective right there, pinning them inside the 5-yard line.
You don't see quarterbacks that can punt with that kind of accuracy typically either.
No, you don't. That was he, like you said, controlled the distance of it. It was an excellent punt. Good spiral on it, dude. Tight spiral. Rare to see.
So Jordan Bell will be in his own end zone.
Tough to run the shotgun back here. Stacking the box, Covington is as well.
Sharp will be on his right side. Sharp will take the handoff, and it's a little bit of a counter play, and Sharp will bounce off one tackler and get it all the way out to the 10-yard line. They'll mark it at the 9.
Linebacker Kydrick Mason was in the backfield. Number 3 on the Covington defense was in the backfield faster than any player. I mean, he definitely went in the backfield in an area that maybe cost his defense a few yards there, but nonetheless, I've never seen a player that fast in the backfield in my life.
Just over 4 minutes left, 2nd and 3. Snap and handoff goes to Sharp. He trips over his own man, and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage and nothing else. That'll bring up a 3rd and 4 and an interesting down in yardage for this Munford team who will throw the ball, but they also have proven that they can get 4 yards in the run game here early in this game.
Dangerous spot here. 2 receivers out wide to the left, still have that split in down to the right. Forces Covington to spread out a little bit more on defense. They don't have nearly as many men as the box.
Watch for Cobbs to cut across, but it's just going to be a handoff to Jace Hodgen, and Hodgen, I think, has enough for the first down. So. He does.
Good run there by Jace Hodgen to pick that up. A dangerous play, a little bit of trickeration again. It wasn't the reverse, but it was the fake run one way and go back the other way, and it just got enough of the Covington defenders to bite to the left, picks up some big yardage.
And that's how you get yourself out of a hole early, Jay.
That's right. No doubt about it.
Not a hole as far as the score, but where you were backed up on the field, that is.
It's a 5-yard gain nonetheless. You're right.
Hand off to Sharp. Sharp.
What a move.
Over the left side, gets his helmet knocked off. Play was blown dead when the helmet came off. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure because they blew the whistle, they'll mark it there. So it'll be a gain of about 4.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you see him duck a tackle around the line of scrimmage? It's like he went underneath the tackler right there and kept his feet moving to pick up more yardage. I can't rave about Braxton Sharp enough. One of the best high school running backs I feel like I've seen in a long time.
One of the best in the area last year, certainly in the region.
Great addition to this team.
Hand off now, go around the right side, and almost got the ball swatted away. Way to hang on to it. That was Malik Curry on the carry. First one we've seen for him.
Yeah, first carry by Malik Curry there because of the because it was Braxton Sharp has to come out of the game after losing his helmet. Obviously for safety reasons, of course, but good to get another guy involved. Malik Curry, first run of the game. Even if it is just for 1 yard.
3rd down and 2 now, coming up on 2 minutes left in the first half. This one's gone by quick, Jay.
It really faster than the first quarter, especially. Less timeouts, though, because Munford took 2 of them in the first quarter.
Handoff goes to Sharp.
That's
Sharp on the right side. Finds a good hole and gets it out for the first down. First down, Cougars. Still on the march.
He just takes what they give him. You know what I mean? It's very rare to see a high school running back with that kind of maturity to just take the yards, cut inside. Even some NFL running backs with that kind of speed will always try and break it outside. He just takes the holes that are given to him, and it results in 3 or 4 yards pretty much every time he touches the football.
I'd look for Munford to go there at some point because of the time situation
right.
and lack of timeout.
Called it.
They will now. And the throw is short, but he'll come back and get it as Cobbs.
Space.
Cobbs makes a man miss and gets out in open field, and he'll get all the way down to the Covington 45 before he's knocked out of bounds.
It's a 32-yard completion there, catch and run, yards after the catch too. Unbelievable play there. Great move in the secondary by Isaiah Cobbs. The 2 transfers are proven to be huge additions to this Munford offense and Munford team in general.
McDaniel on the tackle there for the Chargers.
You called it right away, and you're seeing the difference in the first pass they threw, which was that little seam route there. The difference right there is a timeout's being taken by somebody, it looks like.
I would just imagine this one's Covington. The clock has already stopped because the player went out of bounds, so Munford wouldn't need to take a timeout here. Actually, it might be an official's timeout.
Looks like it. Oh, they're resetting the clock.
Resetting the game clock. They say it should be 1:24 on the game clock. It had ticked down to 1:16. So we'll get the clock operator to do that.
But one scheme note I've noticed from Coach Calhoun is after that first seam pass right there, they've really run that curl route really well on the outside because there's no safety over the top. It's forcing these DBs of Covington to have to play so far off. That curl route's going to be there all day as long as they keep playing defense like that.
Well, that speed of Cobb.
No doubt.
And then
create
Bell
separation.
Not quite hit him in the right spot yet, but he makes something happen out of it, and it's a handoff to Sharp. And Sharp jukes one man, jukes another man, and then gets brought down, but not after he gets a first down and all the way down to the 27-yard line. And Munford's on the march trying to close out the half with another score.
Another 20-yard run there. 2 big plays in a row. Just a minute ago, they were backed up on their own 20.
Fast to the line, and Covington doesn't like it. They'll take a timeout to stop this momentum.
Good call.
Munford.
52 yards the last 2 plays from Munford. That's unbelievable right there. That's how you flip the field.
I don't want to take away from Bell by saying that he was throwing short. He's throwing good balls. It's just they're a little short each time. It is hard to throw the curl route.
Absolutely. Especially as fast. I'm not sure he's ever played with a guy with the kind of quickness and speed that Isaiah Cobbs has. And it's the first game of the year, so you imagine it gets better as the season goes on. But that's something tough to throw the ball to when you're not used to it.
Oh, absolutely. And you have to pick the spot when he's making his cut.
That's right.
And so you don't have a good gauge of where he will be. So, but as long as the ball is not placed in the way of defenders, and that was the only real problem I've seen with Jordan Bell tonight was one throw.
Mm-hmm.
One throw was into double coverage. Every other throw has been where only his man could get it.
That's right.
And that's what you want out of your junior quarterback.
No doubt. It's always better to be on the safe side there, and the amount of separation that they're creating on the edge there, it makes it a lot easier as well. And it's probably a lot easier to throw, too, when you got a guy like Braxton Sharp that's got them scared for their lives in the front 7. He's going to run the ball every play.
Cobbs and Aiden Jones are out to the left for Munford. Bell will take the snap, hand it off to Sharp. Sharp tries to go wide out the right side, follows a block, and he'll get down to the 24-yard line. And kind of lucky a hold wasn't called on that one.
That's right. I was about to say the same thing there. It's a little harder to see the yardage gained on this side of the field.
And he's going to
man.
throw. He's looking for Cobbs. Touchdown, Cougars. Cobbs with the – oh, no, he dropped it. Oh, my.
Off his back foot, too. I was about to say that was a dangerous – you could see it on the replay there. He threw it off his back foot. I'd love to see the young man. He got so much better over the course of the year Jordan Bell did at setting his feet there, but that was still a strike that was on the money. Could have been
coverage
caught.
by Josh McDaniel, though. Just great coverage by him to strip that ball out because Cobbs had it caught. and it was on the way down that McDaniel made sure that it wasn't a touchdown.
We were just talking there about how much more difficult it is to throw to a receiver, and you were talking about how he's thrown it away from the defenders. Another example of that, just threw it to open space where he knew his guy was the faster man and that he was going to catch it or nobody was.
3rd and 7, 45 seconds to go in the half. Bell brings a man in motion. It's Cobbs. Now the play will be blown dead before we even get started here.
I was so excited to see what kind of motion that was going to be with Cobbs going in motion, if he was going to get the ball or not. That's a shame. And now we're just going to go start play again.
And they'll reset, so doesn't look like they changed the play.
It doesn't.
Cobbs will go in motion again, and he'll take a handoff this time, go around left side, but he is met and stopped by Jamarian Dowell.
That's such a shame. And that I don't want to say that the officiating is the reason for the negative yardage there, but it gave away the motion. And I don't think they've run Isaiah Cobbs in motion the whole game either. So really a tough situation for Coach Calhoun there in this offense.
Okay, Jay, I got to say I'm a little surprised. It's 4th down now, 4th and 7, and I don't see Braxton Brown heading out. He has the leg to make this and then some, and you could take a 2-score lead going into the half.
How much confidence does it take away from you that the extra point was blocked?
They may be bringing him in, though, because they're letting the clock run right now.
Call a timeout.
And so if they call a timeout, they may be getting ready to bring him in, because I doubt they would do that to just take one shot at the end zone. So with 3.6 seconds left, Munford will take their final timeout of the half, and you got to think that they did it because they kicked, because like I said, it wouldn't make much sense if they were going to run another play.
That incompletion in the end zone could prove to be a huge play in the game. It's a 6-point swing at the very least in this football game. You'd love to be able to salvage 3 here. Like you said earlier, talking about the different formation they do in an extra point, you got to think that you might be a little more confident in your actual special teams team. But you can see Coach Calhoun looks like he's talking to the offense, does it not?
It does indeed look like he's talking to the offense, but I also see Braxton Brown taking some practice swings with his leg.
Always getting ready. Yeah, that's right. You see the long snapper over there taking some practice swings.
A lot of mind games played, too, with
that's
the other
right.
sideline.
You can see the coaches looking across there trying to figure out, just like we are, what's going to happen. See who runs out on the field. Jordan Bell.
I do see Jordan Bell, and Braxton Brown is not coming onto the field. They don't have another timeout, so they have what they have unless Covington calls a timeout.
You're right.
It's a little bit of an odd call to run all the time off the clock and just take one play.
Unless you just want to make sure you keep it out of their hands here and one at the last play for your offense. But you're right. You're right.
Even though it's 4th down, if you get the first but don't get the touchdown.
End zone or nothing. Oh, fake screen. And throw it.
And it's a
toss-up.
It's too far outside. He did catch it, but he was way out of bounds, was Aiden Jones.
What a catch by Aiden Jones there, though. He could be out of bounds, one-handed.
And so that'll bring us to halftime. Munford not able to punch it in there, but they do have the lead, 14-7. We'll be right back with their halftime report here on Cougar Football on Ritter Communications.
Catching all new Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Ritter Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
Looking for an easy and convenient way to pay your Ritter Communications bill? Pay Near Me allows you to pay your bill at home with your mobile wallet, with your credit or debit card, or in cash, with over 30,000 locations nationwide. Whether you pay with cash, credit card, or directly from your bank account, know that we provide you with secure and convenient ways to pay your bill. Ritter Communications, right by you.
Our family relies on the internet every day. We both work from home at times, so our Wi-Fi just has to be there. We learn with it, laugh with it, and count on it for all kinds of things in our home.
Your family depends on strong internet and Wi-Fi. That's why Ritter provides fast internet speeds to meet your needs every day. To learn more about our internet and Wi-Fi choices, call or visit RitterCommunications.com. Ritter delivers more value to our customers with Watch TV Everywhere. It's the free extra service that lets you watch favorites from your TV package on the go. Take a few minutes to sign up at RitterCommunications.com and you'll be all set to explore many channels and on-demand shows on any internet-connected computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Watch TV Everywhere, another great way Ritter delivers the choice, convenience, and value you want.
Catch an all-new Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Ritter Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
At Ritter Communications, we're dedicated to being a caring community partner. We invest in the communities we serve by supporting local nonprofits, academic programs, local athletics, and events that bring us together. We create the connections that strengthen our communities. Ritter Communications, right by you.
Catch an all-new Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Ritter Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
I love that AEW.
I watch that sometimes. To me, though, back here in Covington, getting ready for the Munford band to start up their performance.
Best band in the state for a reason.
One of the best bands in the country. Multiple parade invitees. Rose Bowl parade this band's been to. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade this band's been to. Well known all across the country. As we are here at halftime. They're still getting set up, so we'll do a little bit of recap here, but I don't want to take away from them once they get started. But we are 14-7 at halftime. Munford out to a lead And last year, they got out to an 8-7 lead early in the game, but by halftime, third quarter, it was pretty much over in Covington's favor. Not the case tonight. Munford's defense has been stout, only allowing the one score from Covington and really stuffing their run game and holding them to short gains.
No doubt about it. It's really been a great, impressive, mature defensive performance, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. Obviously, I've been really impressed with Braxton Sharp and Isaiah Cobbs in terms of newcomers. I always like watching Jordan Bell play, but the maturity from the front seven, and I can't take away from the DBs early in the game as well. At least 2, maybe even 3 touchdown-saving tackles they've made, and just from my perspective, those are not plays that I was seeing Munford make last year, and it's the reason why they had the 14-7 lead in this football game.
Of course, Tristan Bohannon was a star last year, but really showing up this year in this first game is Tristan Bohannon, showing why he's gotten offers from Missouri Southern, SEMO, and Alabama State on the table. And combined with the improvement of Mason Medill there in the defensive backfield for the Cougars, really making a big difference here, coming up, helping make some stops. One of the stops we saw in the backfield was Bohannon reading the play and getting all the way into the backfield. Just an incredible turnaround from their defense against this team 1 year ago.
And the play that stands out for me as well is when it was third and very long for Covington's offense, and they pull out one of the plays. We talked about the plays of trickeration when you're a run-heavy team that only has 1 pass in the game. It resulted in a penalty, so 0 passes in the game thus far for Covington. You have to have these trickeration plays that produce big yards, and it was like a fake handoff up the middle, that basically a triple option play, and well snuffed out by Munford. It resulted in a game of about 6 or 7 yards, but nonetheless, on third and long, you can allow that to happen, and it was really an impressive play for me, especially because I think the one touchdown that Munford gave up tonight was overdue and playing all out for one play and not watching the football, and they've really corrected that from the second quarter on.
And honestly, being able to contain a running back like Jamarian Dowell, who was a semifinalist for Mr. Football last year and is in the conversation for Mr. Football this year, and just being able to contain him and slow down that Covington offense, and the clock runs on its own because Covington doesn't do a lot of clock-stopping plays.
That's right. And it was really – you mentioned it during the second quarter, too, here as well, is how much faster the second quarter went than the first quarter. It has to be those timeouts because that second quarter ran by, and that's what's going to happen when a team like Covington runs the football. You've got to control possession of the football to make sure that they don't hold it for the whole game.
And this excellent Munford band is starting their performance, so Jay and I will step aside here as you watch Cougar football from Ritter Communications.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Munford Cougar Marching Band.
Got it?
You're good. Take it.
Yep.
And the best band in the land, the Munford Cougar Band, over there for halftime. And we will be right back to kick off the second half of this kickoff special for the football season in 2022. You're watching Cougar Football on Ritter Communications.
Catch an all-new Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Ritter Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
Looking for an easy and convenient way to pay your Ritter Communications bill? Pay Near Me allows you to pay your bill at home with your mobile wallet, with your credit or debit card, or in cash, with over 30,000 locations nationwide. Whether you pay with cash, credit card, or directly from your bank account, know that we provide you with secure and convenient ways to pay your bill. Ritter Communications, right by you.
Our family relies on the internet every day. We both work from home at times, so our Wi-Fi just has to be there. We learn with it, laugh with it, and count on it for all kinds of things in our home.
Your family depends on strong internet and Wi-Fi. That's why Ritter provides fast internet speeds to meet your needs every day. To learn more about our internet and Wi-Fi choices, call or visit RitterCommunications.com. Ritter delivers more value to our customers with Watch TV Everywhere. It's the free extra service that lets you watch favorites from your TV package on the go. Take a few minutes to sign up at RitterCommunications.com and you'll be all set to explore many channels and on-demand shows on any internet-connected computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Watch TV Everywhere, another great way Ritter delivers the choice, convenience, and value you want.
Catch an all-new Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Ritter Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
At Ritter Communications, we're dedicated to being a caring community partner. We invest in the communities we serve by supporting local nonprofits, academic programs, local athletics, and events that bring us together. We create the connections that strengthen our communities. Ritter Communications, right by you.
Memphis Wrestling every Saturday at high noon right here on Raider Communications Tubetown TV. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Our next live TV taping is Sunday, August 21st. Join us at the Wrestle Center. Reserve your seat today at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever.
Welcome back here to Covington. We're still in halftime as you see the Covington band perform, and then we'll get ready to kick off the second half of this rivalry game that kicks off the season now every year and got moved to Thursday starting last year to kick off the season for the state of Tennessee. And it's been a good one so far, Jay. 14-7, Munford leads. It's been a little bit of a defensive battle on both sides, but we've seen great offensive plays as well.
No doubt about it. A fitting game to start out high school football in the state, I think. Just two teams, Munford program, I'm just so excited about them. And Covington obviously has a historically good high school football program. A great measuring stick for Munford coming out here. And like you said, a defensive battle. Even though it's 14-7 and we've seen some explosive offensive plays, it's really been some of the defense that's told the story in this game.
Absolutely, although we have seen the transfers for Munford make immediate impact on this team, especially Braxton Sharp, the running back transfer from Brighton.
I have some stats here for Munford so far. 30 plays in the game, 108 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 83 from Braxton Sharp, who you just mentioned, who has 15 carries, a touchdown, 4 more attempts, though, by Jace Hodgson, who's 4 attempts for 25 yards. That's impressive running of the football. He also has a touchdown. He had that fumble on the first drive of the game, but has really cleaned it up since then. And then 1 of 3 so far is Jordan Bell passing for 32 yards, that big 32-yard gain right there. 140 yards, 2 total touchdowns right now for Munford.
We saw Cobbs make an impact in the receiving game. He only caught the 1 pass, but he also nearly caught a touchdown pass, had it ripped away, and then he had a bobbled kickoff return that he ended up taking for a touchdown that got called back on holding. So it's clear the contribution he's going to make to this team as well.
I also just realized that my stats are incorrect. It is 2 of 4. There have been 2 completed passes in this game to Isaiah Cobbs. The big one that we just talked about for 32 yards, he had a 10-yard completion as well, I believe, in the first quarter on this side of the field. So it's 2 of 4 for Jordan Bell, 42 yards passing and that many yards receiving thus far for Isaiah Cobbs. But it's first game of the season, announcers make mistakes too.
As far as Covington goes, we've seen Skyland Smith in the majority of the run game. It's sort of been shared a little bit with Jamarian Dowell, but mostly Skyland Smith in the first half. He's broken free for a couple of good runs, but been stopped up otherwise. We expected to see more out of Dowell, but Munford done a great job keeping him in check. We've only seen 1 pass attempt out of the Covington quarterback, and I'm not even sure he got that completely off. If I'm trying to remember back to
there's
that
a holding play, so it got called back entirely. You're right. Offensive stats for Covington, though, 19 plays they've run. This is all rushing because, like I said, the only pass attempt they had was a penalty. 2 penalties for them as well to equal, so only 4 total in the game, 2 by both teams. 104 yards total offense for Covington, 1 touchdown on that. If you would have come into this game and you would have thought Jamarian Dowell would have done the bulk of the ball carrying, but it's really been Skyland Smith. 68 yards for Skyland Smith, 9 attempts, and that 1 touchdown on that big run there. Jamarian Dowell, though, nothing to sneeze at, 34 yards on 7 attempts. And then number 15, Ryan Mize with the solo carry for 2 yards there. So 3 guys doing the bulk of the ball, 2 guys doing the bulk of the ball carrying, and 1 from another player as well.
And you mentioned Covington with 100 yards, a little over 100 yards on the ground, and that seems like a lot in a normal football game for a half. But when you're talking about a Covington team that's averaging 300 to 400 yards per game on the ground, to hold them to that in the first half, and one of those is 1 long breakaway play.
Exactly right.
It's pretty incredible.
It really is, and it's really just 1 play, like you just mentioned. It's 1 play for 45 yards is the difference, because you could look at that as well and say Munford 30 plays, 150 yards, to Covington's 19 plays, 104 yards. You don't really like that discrepancy in plays, and how close the yardage is. But like you said, just one play and one of your drives, if you're Munford, even though it didn't result in a touchdown, you brought it out from your own 2, 3, 4 yard line or something like that and still didn't allow them to get a touchdown on that drive as well. So you have to be happy with the first half of your Munford.
Very nearly put it in to end the half, just not able to make that happen, and then ran out of time on a 4th down. But they're coming out, and they receive the ball first, which should make a big difference for Munford because it's what we talked about in the beginning.
You know, that could be why we talked about at the end of the first half. You and I both were thinking, well, maybe kick this really to work the clock down just for one play. It could all have to do with the fact they get the ball to start the second half as well. But all the more reason to maybe put points on the board.
I don't know. We can't get in the coach's head all the time. Of course, we can be coaches in the booth all day long. But
you're right.
We are going to see Munford get the ball, and we talked about the strategy of not really prepping a lot on defense, although they've done a fantastic job against Covington so far, but not a lot of film work and stuff for this team in particular. And so they want to hold on to the ball as much as they can, and they've done a good job of that, and they're going to get it to start the half.
I think this first drive on both sides of the football could be huge momentum-wise in this football game. I think the offensive drive here for Munford, I think Covington's going to try and make to give their offense a little push with a big defensive stop. I think Munford with a big drive here really could put Covington on its heels.
So it will be Cobbs and Braxton Sharp, the two transfers, back deep to receive for the Cougars.
Are you afraid of trickeration here on the kick if you're Munford on Covington's kick?
That's not the MO of Coach Kirby normally. He does, however, kick it on the ground, and it is fielded, though, quickly by Tyler Williams, and Munford will get the ball in good field position here, starting out on the 38-yard line.
I like that is a team that does their own type of trickeration kicks as well, with the knowledge and the wherewithal to know, I just want to grab this football and get my butt on the ground.
That was a good call because I would have bet you against that. Just knowing this coaching staff of Covington and the way they normally play, not a lot of trickeration in their playbook. Bell's in the gun. Hands it off to Sharp. Sharp finds a hole in the middle, but it is closed up quickly. He'll only get a yard after he is met by Kydrick Mason.
If that big first play there, you got to like the starting field position here, the 35-yard line. Don't love that first down run, but nonetheless, getting a yard on that play when he was met, like we say, 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, it really speaks to Braxton Sharp's maturity and running ability. He's going out wide here as well. No one in the backfield.
3 men out to his left, one split in. He'll call Sharp in motion, and it'll be a handoff to Sharp around the right side. He'll have a blocker and get out to the 41-yard line. 3rd and 4.
Player down there.
Looks like that's going to be Adrian Smith for Covington.
One thing I did notice on that last play, hopefully he's all right. He's laying down there like it could be a cramp. Yeah, they're stretching him out like it's a cramp, so it's good to know he's for the most part okay. One thing I noticed there is putting Braxton Sharp out wide and sending him his motion. You saw how much space he had on the right side of the field there. It just kind of put Covington on their heels, and he was able to pick up 5 yards on a run that really had no space to work with.
He has so much speed, it seems like, that even if they know where he's going, if he has the space, he's going to make yardage.
And his cuts are so quick and so purposeful that he knows the space to hit even for just a 3, 4, 5-yard gain, and it brings up a 3rd and much more manageable. I mean, that's really the difference in 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 4 here. And that's a lot of yardage when you're looking at keeping a drive going.
Smith comes off the field for at least one play. Seems to be all right.
It's good. Empty backfield again. Chase Hodgen on that split end spot.
Another 3 receiver set for the Cougars. And Sharp in motion once again. And it's going to be a reverse. Chase Hodgen will get the ball, and he makes one man miss. Then he just runs through a tackle. Gets it down to the first down. There's a flag on the play after the tackle. We'll have to see what that's about.
Look at the spot, too. We're at a perfect angle to see where that ball was. It was definitely a yard in front of where they put it.
Looks like the penalty is going to be against the Chargers, so they will tack on some yardage to the end of this run. This is going to be a targeting call against the Chargers. You rarely see a targeting call in a situation like that where there are multiple people around the ball.
It's an odd one to see. I guess he just put his head down, and they're obviously we're in a situation where we always want to protect the offense players and ball carrier, no one to get hurt in that regard. But Munford will undoubtedly take the 15 yards there.
And now they'll be on Covington's 40.
Still a bad
Sharp
spot.
returns to the backfield, 2 receivers set. Bell looking to pass.
Look at that curl.
Finds
right
his
again.
man, and he bobbles it and catches it. He's able to cage it and catch it even after he falls on the ground. That's why that man is the one to watch here on this Munford team, Isaiah Cobbs, making something out of nothing.
You have to think if we notice up here that it's the same route on the same guy each time, how many more times can you go to that well before someone starts jumping it on the defensive side of the ball?
And it's really shocking knowing that they have AC Mason Young lurking in that backfield, and they may put him in really free him up at free safety and let him play a little zone.
You see how much further back off the line they were really stacking the box with him in that first half, and now you're right, they're respecting it a little bit more.
And the handoff to Sharp. He'll go off the right side and get about 5 yards, good enough for a first down. First down, Cougars.
It's unbelievable to me how one pass play like that, and really the reverse as well, opens up the field so much when really they're running the same kind of inside run, outside run scheme every single play so far with Braxton Sharp. But just those 2 plays kind of puts Covington on their heels and opens up some space for big yardage. New running back in.
That is going to be Malik Curry. He's carried once in this
man.
game. Bell's back to pass, though. Malik Curry called in the block, apparently. And Bell has to do a lot of moving around in the pocket. Now he throws it short and almost picked off. There is going to be a pass interference call, though, and it will go against Covington because Aiden Jones was being held up by Hakeem Hudson in the end zone, and he wasn't trying to hide it.
Total bailout there, too, honestly. I mean, one of those that you just got to turn and see the foot. I know it's a broken play, so it's probably a little bit more difficult to turn and see the football. Not a play you practice a ton as a DB. But if he just would have got his head around there, I think that could have been prevented, that pass interference. But we're Munford guys, so we'll take it right there.
I think what may have happened there, and this is just speculation, but I think what may have happened is Hudson saw the scramble from Bell and thought that it had turned into a run play, and so he began trying to sort of get into that mode.
That's right. He was all up on him, too. He didn't give him an ounce of space, and he's trying to come back to the football, and that's where the pass interference came into play. I really was begging for Jordan Bell to throw that one away. I think they were bailed out a little bit on that one. But he did make something out of nothing, to his credit right there.
He absolutely did. He was almost taken down in the backfield.
I remember those plays a lot from Jordan Bell last year early in the season. As the season went on, he became so much more maybe confident and composed in the pocket there. I'm seeing a few first-game jitters here from him, but it's certainly so far ahead of where he was at the beginning of last season.
2 receivers right. Sharp in the backfield. Handoff Sharp. He goes over the left side. Gets past one man, gets brought down by the next. He's down for about 4 yards, and it'll be about the 10-yard line now for the Cougars. They can get a first down. The first down marker is at the 4-yard line.
And that field position is huge right there to be able to get fresh 4 set of downs if you get it inside the 5-yard line. That is a huge advantage for Munford here in their play calling in general. Timeout by somebody maybe. Oh, another injury.
And it looks like another cramp happening on the Covington side of the ball.
That's interesting. Right at halftime, too. You got to think they were so hydrated in there, but maybe just amped up. It's hot and it's getting hotter and a little more humid as the night goes on. That could also be a factor.
It does tend to wear on you the more it goes on. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they came out of the locker room, but, you can't force the players to drink water, I don't guess. And so maybe a couple of them.
Oh, it's the same player.
didn't take as much. It is the same player. He does have a knee brace on, so he could be experiencing problems with that leg as well. But he was getting stretched out both times.
Same leg as well. That's tough. I'm also looking at these LED lights. We talked about the new LED lights here and the new turf field. I mean, that field looks as good as any Friday night football. I guess it's Thursday night, but any high school football field I've ever seen under the lights.
It's really amazing the difference that it makes in the presentation of the field because you don't get dark areas.
That's right.
You really just get a lit up field. It has a big time feel here.
It does. It really does. And the field obviously is beautiful, well painted and everything, and it's a huge crowd tonight, which just adds to the fire. I mean, standing room only on both sidelines. I know we're getting some great shots on the field down there. You can see how packed this place is tonight.
You can also still see the lines from the when they use it as a soccer field, which I know drives every football coach crazy.
Soccer field, lacrosse field, you name it. They got lines for everything.
Football coaches hate sharing their field and hate when they paint those lines for soccer on them.
You're right about that.
Hand off to Sharp.
What
Sharp cut it back outside. Touchdown, Cougars. And the Cougars. Oh, a little extracurricular there. Are we going to get a flag?
Man, he chased after him for a hit well after he was in the end zone.
No flag.
Hey, we'll take 6, though. What a cutback, though. Speaking just of the run itself, a run to the left, not a counter play at all. Just right when he passed the line of scrimmage, a cut back to the right. He saw that open space. Didn't even get touched for a touchdown. What a run.
It was just a great field vision out of Braxton Sharp all night long. He hasn't missed a step. Changing teams, changing coaches, hasn't bothered him a bit.
Runs with such a maturity, and I think that's the word of the night for me is discipline and maturity, and it's not just by Braxton, it's by the defense as well.
Kick is up and good by Braxton Brown, and so he'll get that blocked kick out of his head, and that'll put Munford up 21-7. It's a 2-score lead for the Cougars as we watch Cougar football on Ritter Communications.
At Ritter Communications, we're dedicated to being a caring community partner. We invest in the communities we serve by supporting local nonprofits, academic programs, local athletics, and events that bring us together. We create the connections that strengthen our communities. Ritter Communications, right by you.
One of those. Back here in Covington as Munford increases their lead. 21-7.
You got a shot of the crowd there, Covington crowd. Everyone's sitting down. Obviously, they're still excited, and they're still going to cheer on their team as they come back here on offense. But a lot of the energy has been taken out of this Covington crowd. And when you're a road team in this environment, like we said, brand new stadium, brand new lights, standing room only, that is a huge touchdown for a momentum shift for Munford.
Can Munford finish this game out? We're only 4 minutes into the second half, but can they finish this game out and get their first win over the Chargers since 2017?
Pooch kick again. Stay in bounds. Oh, ball.
And the ball did get loose.
Unbelievable.
And Munford has it again. This is the second time that Covington has failed to field a short kick, and Munford capitalized, and now they'll have a 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line of the Chargers.
We said it coming out of halftime this is where the momentum shifts in the football game, and Munford has kept their foot on the gas. And now we're starting to drive inside the 30-yard line. It's an unbelievable job. And Coach Calhoun, give him credit for the way he schemes up special teams. He gets his team so many points on special teams. It's really a marvel to see in high school football.
Absolutely. And, they came on at the end of last year, ran into a giant against Henry County in the second round of the playoffs, unable to win that one.
What a
hand off to Sharp. Sharp up the middle. He'll get a couple.
Another good cut to get there. Like you said, ran into a giant with Henry County, but I think the thing that impressed me the most about Munford last season is I think the team at the end of the year that was playing would have beat the brakes off the team that we saw at the beginning of the year, and they've carried that momentum into this year as well with, like you said, a brand new group of starters and 2 transfers on the team.
Absolutely. They did return 7 starters on offense, but added 2 key pieces on offense, and that's Braxton Sharp and Isaiah Cobbs. And Jordan Bell, we already knew, was a standout. There's a throw to the end zone. Looking, and it's caught. Touchdown, Cougars! Isaiah Cobbs gets one in the end zone on a perfect throw from Jordan Bell. Finds him in the corner.
That was a great throw by Jordan Bell. The transfer gets his first touchdown on his new team. What a throw there. A 23-yard touchdown pass. Throw and catch right there. Unbelievable.
It was just a great throw to the back corner of the end zone where only Cobbs could have gotten it. Jordan Bell, you see why colleges are looking at this guy. It's not just his size. He has the build, but he's got the skill too.
There was one throw in the first half that almost touchdown. He threw it off his back foot. That was a great set and throw, and he threw it right on the money, right where he wanted to.
The extra point is up and good, and with that, it's a 3-score lead for the Munford Cougars. Can they finish this game? It's looking really good right now. We'll be right back on Ritter Communications.
Ritter delivers more value to our customers with Watch TV Everywhere. It's the free extra service that lets you watch favorites from your TV package on the go. Take a few minutes to sign up at RitterCommunications.com and you'll be all set to explore many channels and on-demand shows on any internet-connected computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Watch TV everywhere. Another great way Ritter delivers the choice, convenience, and value you want.
Back here in Covington and Munford, a 3-score lead over Covington. I don't think if you were an odds maker, you would have had Munford with a 3-score lead at 7:32 to go in the third quarter, but here we are. They have been great on both sides of the ball. The addition of Braxton Sharp and Isaiah Cobbs showing up in a big way for the Munford offense, and their defense showing that they're no slouches either against this at one time state title contending Covington team.
Look at that kick. I'm so compelled every time the special teams takes the field now. It's almost like I'm watching I get as excited as I would for any offensive play as well. Coach Calhoun, the way he schemes special teams, I'm just on the edge of my seat. What are we going to pull out of the bag this time?
And so it will be. We know, here's the thing we know, Jordan, Jay. I was thinking about Jordan Bell and talking to Jay.
Understandably.
The one thing we know is that Covington has 7 returning starters on offense, 7 returning starters on defense. We know that also they were deep to begin with. They went to the quarterfinals last year. Mm-hmm. This team is a lot the same team that Munford faced last year, so this is really showing you how much Munford has improved and doesn't say anything really bad about the Covington team.
No, and I think the way you see that the most is the discipline in the run game on defense is not just reacting to where the football goes and also just wrapping up and tackling. I think that's the biggest thing. Is a lot of times in high school football you don't see the form tackling, the fundamentals of tackling, and it's one thing that Munford, even though they're 4-yard gain there, unbelievable job they're doing right now in that regard.
Right now, very much. Covington has had the ability over the past few years to make 5A teams, even though they're at 3A. They've been able to make 5A teams look like single-A teams. And tonight, we're seeing Munford look like a 5A team playing a 3A team. Hit in the backfield.
What a stop.
And brought down after a gain of a couple of inches.
Now, this is the test now. Giving the ball twice now to Skyland Smith going up the middle. Got to make sure you stay disciplined because you're always ready for them to break it to the outside, whether it be a pitch, whether it be motion to outside. Make sure you stay disciplined and don't overcommit to one thing. That's what I'm watching for here on this third down because you know it's probably 4-down for the rest of the game for Covington, and it has been so far 4-down territory.
3rd and 6, Gover. Will we see his arm here?
Oh, that's another question I didn't even consider.
Only one receiver out. Man in motion.
Maybe so.
It's going to be a toss. Over to the left side and brought down in the backfield by Mason Medill after being chased.
Looks like he slipped and fell.
By Clay Bridges. And he does look like he hurt himself there. It's Jamarian Dowell.
Hate to see that. I saw him slip and fall, or he clearly hurt himself, and I knew something was wrong.
And you know those naysayer talkers on social media will immediately blame the new turf.
As they always do with the new type of grass or turf in that regard.
He is up and walks out under his own power, however, so just a little bit of a twist, I think.
It could also just be a pulled muscle. Like I said, the way he fell there, it just looked strange.
I think he may have gotten a little help there, too. Clay Bridges was on his backside, and I think he may have gotten a little help falling. He may have gotten tripped up a little bit.
Could have been. 4th and 9 here. Now we got 2 returners back for Munford this time. We did not see that the first time they did that little pooch punt. Does it make them call something different? Maybe go for the fake punt pass here because you had the personnel to do that.
Be hard to do it from this field position.
No doubt about that.
I saw these yellow footballs the cheerleaders are throwing in the stands. I thought I saw a flag.
Me too.
Oh, it is a good punt.
I'm telling you what.
Gover has a leg on him.
Smart play.
Smart play there by Jace Hodgson to let it go because he wasn't going to get to it to catch it in the air, and he had gunners coming after him. So Munford will start from the 20-yard line, but a great kick there by Gover.
I think it speaks to the discipline of Munford so far. Like, we don't see the plays, that they capitalize on in the special teams where a team bobbles the ball. You saw the one time they did a squib at him, fall on the football. Right there, you have a tendency to want to make a big play, even though you're up by a lot. It's what you see in high school football a lot, and great discipline, well coached by Coach Calhoun. Let it go. We got a lead. Let's play some offense.
How conservative does Munford play now with a 3-score lead?
I think you just run your offense. Reverse.
And off reverse again. Hodgson, he'll get it, go around the left. He's got a block this time. He tries to cut it back inside. He breaks 3 tackles before he's brought down. Excellent run, gain of about 9.
Tell you what, I got a little scared there. There was a lot of hands going after that football there, and we've already seen one fumble from him. Now, he's really taken good care of the football since then, so I don't mean to project that onto him, but there was a lot of hands flying at that football trying to punch it out.
And since you brought that up, Jay, it's one thing I've noticed about this Covington defense is they swat at the ball every tackle.
You don't really see that in college that much either. That's an NFL tackling.
That's a straight handoff to Malik. He'll go around the right side. He'll get a couple. It'll be good enough for a first down. Flag on the play, and Malik is shaking his head yes, so you got to think it's probably a face mask or targeting.
That's right. Yeah. I'm glad to see Malik get involved. Malik Curry here, the sophomore, get involved. Excuse me, Malik Curry, the junior. I'm glad to see him get involved here in the run game with this big lead. Was personal foul.
They'll march off that 15-yard penalty. 4:42 left in the third quarter here. Munford with the ball and a big lead.
That's 3 penalties in this half now against Covington. Now, Munford had 2 in the first half. It was 2 apiece, but it's 3-0 right here, the discrepancy in the second half. Covington has to be unhappy with just the penalty aspect of what's going on here, if nothing else. You never want to play undisciplined football.
Bell's got Sharp in the backfield. The handoff will go to Sharp over the right tackle.
What a move, man.
Made just a little move and able to get it forward for 4 yards.
It's so subtle. It's not like a big cut. It's not like what you see in the video games or when you think of an ideal running back making cut. But just like he just contorted his body. A defender goes flying by him, and he turned a 0-yard gain into a 4-yard gain, 3-yard gain.
Now back onto the field will be Malik Curry.
Well-deserved rest for Braxton Sharp. I'm sure he wants the carries. We've been waiting for the first game of the season here, but it's good to get Malik Curry involved too. You just never know what happens over the course of a football season.
Looking down the road, what's it going to be like when Munford faces Sharp's old team in Brighton? It's another reverse to Hodgson.
That one was scary.
It almost came loose in the backfield. He turns it up for a 1-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 6 now for the Cougars. And now is sort of the test of how conservative are you? Do you put the ball in the air, or do you just get what you can out of the run and see if you can get a first down? If not, punt it away.
I think the thing to look at right now is no safety over the top. And they just went out to line up there on the edge. The ball's on the opponent's 49-yard line. I was seeing the DBs line up like 7 yards off of the receivers. And you've seen that curl route so much. Well, I just am interested to see where they line up. This is the first split receiver look we've seen all day. Look, they're much closer, playing press coverage here. Yep.
Looking left for
What a
Cobbs
move,
on
man.
the curl. Yeah, hits him, and boom, first down. Nice gain there. Bell to Cobbs. I'm sure we're going to be saying that a lot this year. And they threw to the opposite side of the field as Mason Young was on, because AC Mason Young is the big threat in the defensive backfield for Covington. And he was in that free safety position, but he committed to the left, and that's when Bell committed to his left, and that's when Bell decided to throw to Cobbs.
That's just how you run a route there by Isaiah Cobbs. Did you see the separation he got on that, on just a curl route that they've run all day? It's the only route they've run and completed on. What a move. What a route.
Cobbs stacked up with Jones, but Malik falls down in the backfield. That one goes nowhere, loses yards.
I think that's the biggest loss of yards all day by the Munford offense, if I'm not mistaken. Which is unfortunate to see it happen here, but it's also how much time is left in the third quarter here. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. The biggest loss of yards you've had all day is that 4-yard loss there, and it was because the running back tripped and fell. I'm going to turn that to a positive.
Yeah, other than maybe a penalty.
That's right, other than a penalty.
Yeah. But, yeah, straight loss of yards. For sure. Malik Curry just lost his footing. You're still going to have a learning curve on the turf, too, I think.
I agree.
Curry will get another shot here. He'll try to cut it back up. He'll get the yardage back that he lost, not much more.
And we didn't see Malik Curry get carries last year. Both two seniors running the football last year from Munford. Obviously, you have a transfer in Braxton Sharp that got a lot of carries at his old school, but it really a new game for Malik Curry. Not only a learning curve on the turf, but just a learning curve running the football within the offense.
So half of the yardage he lost, got back on the next carry. It's good of the coach, I think, to give him that carry, to get that confidence back immediately.
I agree.
You're going to need Malik Curry to spell Braxton Sharp throughout the year, even though you're going to rely on Sharp more often.
Two running backs.
Hodgen and Curry in the backfield. Two receivers to the left. Bell drops back to pass. He's looking for Cobbs again on a long route. Cobbs comes back to him after he sees him in trouble, catches it, shakes off his man. Now he cuts it across the field. Stiff arm and brought down at the 28-yard line. It's going to be good enough for a first down, and that's another something out of nothing play we see from the Cougars.
You're right about that. That's a big gain, too. A 13-yard, by my count, 13-yard catch and run. Obviously, a lot of that's the run after the catch by Isaiah Cobbs there, but a big play there, and that's one thing, making something out of nothing for Jordan Bell. It could come to bite you, but when you have a receiver that can find space and is aware of what's going on in the backfield, like Isaiah Cobbs is, it's a huge weapon to have.
Because he was on a post route.
That's right.
And he looks back, he sees his quarterback in trouble and comes back to get open to give him an outlet. And they get the first down.
Almost impossible to guard if you're a defensive back, a receiver just running to open space, because you can't predict where he's going to go.
You were right earlier when you said the word of the game is maturity. The football IQ of Munford has gone up incredibly since the beginning of last year, and then we come full circle to now.
I think it's the thing I'm most impressed about, and it speaks to Coach Calhoun and his entire coaching staff. They do such a great job with these guys. Fourth quarter coming up now.
We got 11.9 left in the third right now, so they do have a timeout. I thought for a moment they were going to end the quarter.
So did I. They were holding up the fours on the sideline. I didn't look at the clock. I just made an assumption.
I don't think they did either. But Munford with the ball and the lead and in striking distance for another score. The Covington faithful has not had a lot to cheer about since the first half.
Only 3 plays this half. And you look in the first half, Munford had 11 more plays on offense than Covington had. This half, I can't even count up how many it's been so far, and only 3 for Covington, dominating possession of the football.
So we are changing quarters now after the clock had 11.9 left on it. Then they just took it off and changed quarters. So a discrepancy between the clock and the field. We'll just keep it right here, because they are lining up and getting ready to go.
Not the first discrepancy today. We've seen the refs have to go to the booth a couple times to get the clock back going there.
3 quarters in the books. Munford leads by 3 scores. Covington only been able to find the end zone once in this game on their home field. The first game on the new turf, new lights. As you can see from the huge crowd, this is the biggest thing going on anywhere in the area tonight. And it's pretty much the only football game going on anywhere around here. And so a lot of eyes on this game and this big stage, and the Cougars have shown up.
I've got 18 plays by Munford in that third quarter. Remember, Covington had 19 plays running offense in the first half entirely. Munford just equaled that in one quarter and held Covington to 3 offensive plays. That's how you dominate possession of the football. And that's the best defense. When you talk about Coach Calhoun preparing for an offense that he's only going to see once, you don't want to do too much for one team. That's one way to play defense against it, is not let them have the football.
Absolutely. They've kept the ball. They've kept it in bounds when they needed to most of the time, helped the clock run. It's been a great game plan from Coach Calhoun.
No doubt.
Handoff goes to Sharp. He'll try the left tackle. He'll get forward for, looks like 8 yards before he's brought down.
Another thing I just noticed from Braxton there, and he's done it a ton, Braxton Sharp, running back transfer, patient running as well, is like that stutter step in the backfield, just seeing what he's got in front of him. That's something so rare to see from a high school running back. I love this guy running the football. I can watch him do it all day.
2nd and 2. Jace Hodgen is lining up at receiver, and I just noticed something about his mannerism, so let's keep an eye on him right now because I think he may be the target of this play. I could be wrong.
First 3 receivers set out wide.
He goes in motion, and it is a handoff on the sweep to Hodgen. The ball comes loose, and Covington gets it, and it comes loose.
I think he was down.
He was down. The ground calls the fumble on that one, I believe. Covington stops the Cougars, not only stops them, strips the ball, and gets a takeaway. And now this Charger team has life in this fourth quarter.
That's right. You mentioned it earlier, how much you saw them swatting at the football. Now it's Jace Hodgen that's coughed it up both times, maybe trying to make something out of nothing. A little bit loose with the football there. Nonetheless, he has run the ball well, but 2 fumbles is certainly going to be something that they look at film as they get to the weekend here.
And I won't say what I saw that was the giveaway, but I did see a giveaway that Jace Hodgen was going to be the target of that play. And if I saw it, you can guarantee someone on Covington saw it.
Yeah, that's right. Probably calling it out.
Straight handoff up the middle. Very nice dive play. Turns into 7 yards for the Chargers.
Powerful running there, and it's something to be expected now from Skyland Smith. I don't think he has – he keeps his legs moving every time he touches the football. That's their guy that's going to go north and south every time he gets it.
That's a play designed to only get 2 or 3 yards, and he's able to get 7 out of it.
Sure did.
Got a receiver out wide for Covington. Handoff. They ain't going anywhere this time.
Oh, man, quarterback keeper.
Oh, it was a quarterback. It fooled me.
Me too. These are the plays we talked about that you have to have in your playbook here when you're Covington, because you have to be able to still get 3rd and longs and stuff if you're going to still only run the football. And I would imagine that they unload a whole bunch of them here in this fourth quarter. Nothing to lose now. You're down 28-7. You got to do something.
That's right. It was a great run by Gover, and, of course, I wasn't looking for the fake because we haven't seen anything like that. Neither was Munford. They were fooled as well. And now Gover gives the late handoff, and it'll be taken down in the backfield. Will Jamarian Dowell by a couple of Cougars. And look who's in the backfield, Tristan Bohannon.
Amongst others back there, too. And I think that might be the biggest loss of yardage for Covington on the day as well. They had a negative 3-yard run in the first drive in the second half. There's another negative 3-yard run there, and you have to feel good, especially after giving up 2 7-8-yard runs there. First 2 plays of this drive, a big bounce-back play there from Munford to not get on their heels too much. Which is what you're concerned about, is that complacency here when you have this big lead.
Bohannon on the blitz that time stops the run after a gain of about 2, so the running back able to drag him 4, but I saw Bohannon coming on the blitz early at 6'4", 220.
And one thing I noticed, I'm sorry to interrupt you, one thing I noticed from the right side of the line and the linebackers that were still back there as well is they were still moving to play the pitch in case they misdiagnosed what happened in the play. And that's what we're talking about, the discipline of this defense. That is why they've held Covington to only 7 points.
Gover under center, calls a man in motion.
3rd and long.
He will drop back to pass. He is being chased down the backfield. Bohannon misses him. He steps up in the pocket, finds a man, and it is dropped. Oh, that was such a good play by Gover to keep that play alive, and Mize just could not keep his hands on it. Well placed. It was well covered by Medill, but it was a well-placed ball after stepping up in the pocket and avoiding the pressure.
It looks like Tyler Williams, number 9 down there, his eyes got so big when he saw that football coming, he forgot to guard his receiver, so he took a step, and it could have resulted in a big touchdown there. That's a
you got to get the lucky breaks,
I was about
too.
to say, that's a big break right there.
You've got to be good, but you got to get some breaks here and there, too, and that's what Munford got right there. But good pressure on the quarterback. Just Gover handled it really well.
What are you punting it away here if you're Covington? You got to do something here. I mean, I know
it's hard for me to believe they're going to punt it away, but Munford's going to call a timeout here, give them a chance to think about it.
Probably a good timeout. You got it, like you just said, you got to expect them to go for it there, and they looked like they were all set for a block play.
Yeah, they didn't have anyone back in the middle of the field. They had one receiver back for the punt, one returner, and then everybody else was on the line.
Mm-hmm. A big bounce back there by the defense allowed a 7-yard play and it's another 7-yard play to the first 2 plays of this drive, and really bounced back huge. A negative play, a tackle for loss, 2-yard run there, keep them behind the line of scrimmage, and then kind of a lucky break there by an incompletion, but still holding your ground there when you could have let the wheels come off after 2 big plays to start the drive.
And if they can stop Covington here, and Covington is lining up like they're going to punt, hard to believe that's going to be the case. But
like you said, a few more guys in the middle of the field there just ready for something. You know something's coming here. Has to be.
But if they are able to stop, it will be a punt, surprising to all of us. And Cobbs is going to catch it on the bounce and then try to return it.
Got space.
And he's got a few yards. He jumps over one man. He gets pushed out about the 28-yard line. Call it the 29.
2 great returns. Obviously, the one touchdown called back early in the game by Isaiah Cobbs. But one thing, not only is he a good receiver, but returning the football, he is a smart runner with it as well.
Absolutely. And so Munford will get the ball back. Best thing that could have happened to them. And like you said, the defense did the job. The offense coughed the ball up down on this end when they could have potentially sealed the game. And it is 8:16 left here in the game with a 3-score lead, and Munford will have the ball again. And you got to think now you're thinking clock.
I was about to say, when do you think, if ever, Munford changes their offensive scheme? It looks like they put Braxton Sharp back in the game, so I'm assuming, they're running the ball a lot too, so I would imagine they just keep running their offense too. It's hard to say.
Maybe a couple more keepers out of Bell.
That's right. Low snap.
Hand off to Sharp after the low snap, and it'll be a gain of a yard. But you're really just trying to tick off clock, because if you don't make a lot happen here, if you can run 3-4 minutes off the clock, you've done a lot.
That's right. And you got a big enough lead. It's not like it's like a 2-score lead where you're playing too conservatively in this case. This is, you have a 3-score lead. You've really dominated the football game. Your defense is playing well. There's really, like you said, no reason not to work clock and play a very conservative style of offense. But you also have to know, first game of the year, everyone's itching to get out there. Maybe even the coaches are itching to call some plays to keep that offense churning. It's a delicate balance.
Hand off to Sharp, and he'll get another couple of yards there. What surprised me sort of about Covington is they've been playing single coverage with one safety over the top all night.
All night. And sometimes the safety doesn't even play over the top. Like, he comes up into the box, and it's just surprising. Cramp in there by Braxton Sharp. But like you said, it's surprising to see that, especially on passing downs. Why would you continue to do that when you're getting beat on the same route on the outside every single play? It's also surprised me.
And when you have a highly recruited safety like A.C. Mason Young, it seems like you would just kick him over and double Cobbs and try to make, the Aiden Jones or one of the other receivers make up the difference.
One thing you did note early, and this could play to what you're talking about, is Covington and Coach Kirby, they play a very traditional style of football, it could just play to the way they want to play defense, regardless of the personnel they have. Like you said, when you have a great safety, I would want to utilize him to his strengths. Maybe they just want to play up in the box like that no matter who they're playing against. But you would know more about the tradition of Covington defense than I would.
Well, I've definitely seen Covington play a lot of years, and they have hung their hat on defense for most of my life. And the running game. Mm-hmm. And so there have been periods where different coaches come in and try different things, but smash mouth football has been the signature of the Covington program for as long as I can remember. And just letting the clock tick down now. It got restarted after the injured player got off the field, which was Braxton Sharp with a cramp. Another low snap, but picked up. Malik Curry gets it. He's going to be taken down in the backfield, and he loses the ball.
I think it was blown. Hopefully it was blown.
I think they blew it dead on momentum first. They did, and so it will be 31. And the Covington fans aren't happy about that, but they had a hold of him and pushed him backwards for a good 2 seconds.
They had. We'll see where they spot it here.
Looks
Look
like
where the ball's spotted.
At the 31.
I'll take it, but
yeah, it seems like it should be a little further back than that.
Very generous.
But I will say that I don't see Covington's coaches complaining, and they have a better view of it. And if it was a yard further, they would be bringing it up, and not in a nice way.
I think Malik Curry's running of the football so far, and not to say he's done a bad job. He's had a few carries, and he's obviously getting his first reps here in the offense. Delay a game by Munford here before this kick. It's his first reps in the offense, his first reps we've ever seen of him running the football. But I think you can see the discrepancy, the same offensive line, the same play calling, in how good Braxton Sharp is at getting those yards. Credit to the offensive line, credit to the scheme, but this guy makes a lot of things happen just by his ability to run the football.
Absolutely. He makes great decisions, but then you brought it up earlier. He commits to his cut.
That's right.
He does not hesitate. He commits to his cut. He makes it. It's smooth, and he's able to move the ball forward.
It's really a marvel to see. I can't watch. I'm so excited to watch this guy run the football all year long. Look at his formation.
So after the delay of game, Braxton Brown will punt it away. It's about a medium punt, but it's going to get a good Munford roll and put Covington back at the 42-yard line to start their drive.
Coach Calhoun is very upset about something. I'm not sure what it is, but he was yelling at his gunners there, mad at something.
5:17 to go in the game. And how good does this look for Munford going forward?
I think it looks great here. But I think what you're also looking for in the first game of the year, and a game that doesn't count in your own division here or in your own region here, is you want to see consistency. You want to play 4 quarters of the same solid football. You do not want to give up a touchdown here, even though you have this lead. I want to see them keep playing the same style of football. And you see it right there on the first play. Keeping it going.
They are definitely hungry, definitely playing like it's a rivalry game, and they have just taken control of this game, and Covington is out of it, honestly.
And I think you saw it right there from Coach Calhoun's reaction to the punt. It's very easy, 28-7, punt goes away. It wasn't done exactly right. Come to the sideline, we'll figure it out. He was fired up at a mistake and a 28-7 lead. And I think that speaks to why this team is playing the way they are, is because it's attention to detail on every play, regardless of the score.
Think about how a game like this molds a team.
Oh, yeah.
Even the game last year, starting out under bright lights, the first Thursday game has a good run there.
It was.
By Jamarian Dowell. He'll get the first down on that one. It was a gain of 10. But think about how a game like this, last year they got permission to have a game on a Thursday, kick off the season. It's the biggest thing going. And all these people show up. And then, and maybe it was year before last when they started Thursday, actually. I can't remember. But but having a game like this where the bright lights are on you, it's a rivalry game, and you've lost it this many years. Think how it shapes the team to come in here and get a win like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look at that defense. Lifted, look, he's in the air.
And then also think about how Munford starts their season every year for the past how many ever years. 2 huge rival games. Their 2 biggest rivals, Covington, Millington, back-to-back games 1 and 2. They're non-region games. Both are non-region games for Munford, but you could argue they mean the most to the players.
I think you mentioned it before the game. Their ranking within the state, 7th in the region and 20-something in the state. It's a measuring stick game for Munford, and you have to feel so good about your not that you don't need to improve, but you feel good about your chances moving forward. Reverse. Wow, tripped over his own man. Couple of big plays here in the run game for Covington in this drive, and you got to want to clean that up. And I see the coaches over there a little bit upset with what's happening here. You want to clean this up even as you have this lead, as the clock ticks down in the fourth quarter. Attention to detail every play, regardless of the score, is clearly the MO of this offense and team.
You're speaking of Covington's rank there, talking about them being ranked 29th on the Sonny Moore Power Rankings to start out the year for the state. Munford, as far as the whole state, and that Covington is ranked 7th in 3A. Munford started out in the Sonny Moore Power Rankings at 133. You got to think they're going to make a huge jump after this win.
Have to. And I think it's putting these are the games that kind of set you up where, okay, Covington is a historically good team, definitely a good team in the state. This is where we rank up if we want to compete for a state championship. Now, state championships are not won and lost in the first week of the season, but it's a good positioning point as you move forward through the season.
2:49 left to go in the game, 2nd and 10, and it is a handoff to A.C. Mason, and he'll get about a yard on that one. Munford defense still playing stout.
Certainly so, and also different types of run plays we've seen here, like 2 reverses on that last drive that result in big gains. That one was there was a lot of motion happening before they handed the ball off. These are the gadget plays that we were talking about that Covington has been holding in their back pocket. Maybe a little bit too little too late at this point, though. 3rd and long here. 3rd and longer than they like for sure. Pass.
And Gover going to let it go toward the end zone. Just a little bit overthrown there. And Covington wants a flag.
That was a little high. It was close, man.
It was really close. Well timed, I suppose, though, by Mason Medill, because no flag on the play. The intended receiver was Ryan Mize.
I was looking at that. I leaned out of the window here to see if I could see a flag there. That was about as close as it could have been. But like you said, well timed at the end of the day.
And so 4th down and 9 now for Covington. Likely their last gasp at this with 2:03 left in the game.
I'm so interested with the team, the way Covington's offensive scheme is built. What you do, like, do you just pull out all your pass plays here? Obviously on 3rd and long they did there. What do you do on 4th and long? It's always interesting to see.
What do you do when you go back to practice this week? You go back to the yellow helmets?
Yeah. Good defense, man.
That's very good defense. Mason Medill on the pass breakup. That's his 2nd pass breakup tonight.
And eyes not getting big, seeing the football, knowing the situation, continuing to run after it, just getting a hand on it. That's such a smart play. Discipline and maturity, unbelievable today by Munford. I can't speak highly enough to the camp that Coach Calhoun has had, just the culture he's built within this program, leaps and bounds ahead of where they started last year.
So as we wind this out, we look forward to next week, the M&M Bowl. Munford will host the M&M Bowl. Millington comes in, and another huge rival right down the street. That game will rival this game in attendance, and Munford has momentum on their side, and they've had Millington's number. So how do they carry this into that game and then forward into region play?
I think it's similar. We'll watch this play here first.
It's Sharp off the right side, stopped after a gain of about 2.
I think it's similar to what we talked about going into the fourth quarter of this game, or even after you get that first touchdown in the second half here, is you can't let yourself get complacent. And I think that's the same thing that they're going to go into the practice this week. And from everything I've seen from Coach Calhoun on the sideline, he does not allow this team to get complacent about anything about a lead at halftime, about a first touchdown in the second half. And I think they're going to carry that into the week with them, make sure they stay humble and know next week's a new week. What you did this week doesn't change anything.
Cobbs dancing in the huddle there. You can see he's enjoying his new team already.
Absolutely, as he should be. He's had a great day. Returning the football and catching it.
We'll tick down under a minute with this play, and it'll be another handoff to Sharp. He'll just kind of patiently find a little hole there and get all the way up to the marker. It's going to be close, but it'll be about a yard short of the first down. 3rd down and 1, and the clock is running. We'll get one more play, 33 on the play clock, but 46 on the game clock. So
Statement
we'll
win.
get one more play, but they can take a knee and go home with this one.
Absolutely a statement win here today.
Oh, a huge statement made by this Munford team, putting all of their rivals and the entire Region 8-5A on notice that we are not only trying to win our region for the 3rd year in a row, this year we want to do it in dominant fashion.
That's right.
And there it is. That's the knee. The clock will run down. Munford got a lot to celebrate, got a lot to build on. Covington got some things to work on. Their offense stuttering quite a bit in this game, not able to get through that Munford defense. So they will have some things to work on, but if you are a fan of Cougar football, then you are looking for an exciting year based on the start.
Absolutely. And as good as the offense looks, I can't be more impressed by Braxton Sharp. I couldn't be more impressed by Isaiah Cobbs. Jordan Bell threw some great balls today. Jace Hodgin got involved in big ways today. But the thing that stands out for me is that 7 on the board on Covington's offense and the defense and the discipline. That on the first drive, on that first touchdown, we did not see that, and it was just a comeback to reality. Great discipline by the Munford defense. If they're going to play defense like this as the season goes on, they're going to win a lot of these games against some good football teams.
This Covington team is home run hitters in the backfield. Jamarian Dowell, 1,000-yard rusher, and they shut him down nearly completely in this game. Munford, a lot to be proud of in this game and looking good for things to come. They'll take on, as we said, Millington in the M&M Bowl next week. We'll have that game right here on Ritter Communications. We'll be in Dr. Sid Witherington Stadium in Munford for the first time this year on the new turf, so we'll see the new Munford turf, and they'll try to get it broken in with a win down there in Munford. So we will have to see how that goes. We don't know what Millington looks like yet because this is the first game and the rest of them get played tomorrow, but we will pay close attention to that. And so thank you all for sticking with us here for the game. Thanks to Richard Self, Richard Bressler, and Nathan Taylor on the cameras. Director is Brandon Reed, executive producer Marcus Carlton. I'm Chad Gatlin here with Jay Harder, and we will see you next week in Munford for the M&M Bowl on Ritter Communications.